Hello my beautiful Disney friends, how are you today? Hope everyone's doing really well. If you guys are new here, hello, welcome. My name is Terryn. If you guys like anything with Disney, theory, history, and makeup, because they all go together, you know, all completely, who wouldn't think all those things together? I mean, I would. Then please consider subscribing to my channel, giving this video a thumbs up, and turning on notifications. That way you can be notified anytime I drop a new video. I hate using the word drop. It seems so, I don't like it. Put out a new video. Now, every little girl has always pretty much dreamt of growing up and being a princess. And what better princess is there to be other than a Disney princess? I know I definitely wanted to grow up and be a Disney princess. I didn't care which one. I just loved them all. I loved their look. I loved their aesthetic. They were Disney princesses. They were living the dream. They had the fairy tale. But what if being a Disney princess isn't all that it's cracked up to be? What if there's a lot more to it? A lot more than we realize, including social media restrictions, garbage duty, and getting injured on the job. Today we are talking about the top 10 Disney secrets that princesses have to keep. If you guys are interested in any of the makeup that I'm using, everything will be listed down below. Other than that, here we go. Number 1, princesses can't break character. Now this might seem like a bit of an obvious rule here. I mean, if you're a Disney princess, you should be that character. You shouldn't break your character. You shouldn't break that character for any reason. You're literally getting paid to be the character, the Disney princess that you're portraying. Now, as easy as that sounds, it's actually a bit harder and a bit more difficult than you would actually think. For instance, when you say that princesses can't break character, I mean like they can't break character. It's not just a matter of breaking character. They can't talk about anything that isn't themselves, involving their story, and involving their own particular realm. Now, for some princesses, you could actually have a lot of fun with that because a lot of princesses have more than one movie. A lot of princesses have a lot of shows or little spin-off shows, so they're able to come up with some awesome character meet and greets and some answers for some of the questions that these guests have for them. But if you're one of those princesses who really only has one real film, then you're just subjected to talking to anything that happened within your own little film, and that can actually be hard to keep a conversation with someone. Not only do you have to have conversations within your own realm, you actually can't even have conversations about any of the princesses around you. So, for instance, Cinderella wouldn't be able to talk about Snow White. Which I find a little weird, to be absolutely honest with you, because I mean, if you're in like, I know the words any other time, but when I go to say them, I can't think of them. If you're in like a character meet and greet, or you're in a restaurant with multiple princesses, they actually can't even really interact with each other or have anything going on with each other because they're outside of each other's realms. So I find that rule a little weird, although I do think that is more so for when you're meeting a character and talking to them. I don't know, I still think that's weird. I mean, can't they just be friends? Can't they all just be friends and be buddies and hang out? Also, they're not supposed to talk about anything that is, again, on the outside world. So if you bring up a current event that is happening outside, or if you say, hey, did you watch this really cool dance that's on TikTok? The Disney princesses actually won't be able to respond. They'll have to come up with some cute little response of, oh, I don't know what that is, or oh, TikTok, I've never heard of that, because it's something that actually exists out of their realm, so they're not able to talk about it. Number 2, princess school. Now, I don't know, this one sounds like a heck of a lot of fun to me. I would love to go to princess school. However, it's actually not as much fun as you think it might be. It takes about 5 weeks to go through the process of princess school, and it's actually a pretty grueling hard 5 weeks. When you are there, you are literally learning everything about your character. You're watching movies, shows over and over again, so you get to know your character inside and out. Not only are you learning your character or your friend, you are learning how this princess walks. You're learning how this princess talks. You are learning their gestures, their mannerisms, their daily schedules. You're actually working with a coach who is teaching you basically etiquette class. You're basically learning princess etiquette class. So it really is like princess school. You're working with a vocal coach who is actually teaching you how to talk like a princess. And when you're learning how to talk to a princess, princesses' voices are actually a few octaves higher than normal. So a lot of people actually start to strain their voice for the first few weeks as they're going through these classes. Something that is really iconic too is that you are actually learning how to sign like the princess. So if you guys have ever gone to a park, you have used a signature book, you've got the signatures. If you take that signature book and you get the same princess to sign it in a different park or on a different day, you will notice that the signatures are exactly the same. Now, this is definitely no coincidence. This is something that they are being taught in princess school. Every single princess has to have the same signature, so it doesn't matter what park you're in, what year you go, they will all have the same signature. I found a signature book that I had from when I was 6, the very first time that I went to the parks, and I actually compared it to the kids' book not that long ago, and man, they are basically exactly the same. I think Cinderella's was actually a little bit different, her C was a little different. Maybe they changed it over the years. I mean, you know what, every once in a while I switch up my signature, I change it up a bit, so maybe Cindy did the same thing. But other than that, man, they were like the same. It was crazy. Number 3, you don't get to choose which Disney princess you get to be. What? No, I was actually really shocked when I found this one out. I thought, like, if you're going to audition for a princess, you get to audition for the princess you wanted to be, or the one you identified with the most, or I mean, let's be real, the one you look like the most. But no, that's actually not what happens. What happens is you actually basically get thrown into a giant pool of audition names, and once they're auditioning for a character, they basically give you a call up and say, hey, come on over, we want you to audition. Now, if you get this call, that is amazing. I'd be thrilled out of my mind as it is, but don't get your hopes up. One former Disney princess actually said when she went to audition one time, there was about 500 girls that went to go and audition, and they basically broke them up into groups of 10. In the end, they basically came down and only ended up hiring 3 positions. 3 positions out of 500. That is crazy. This is also really difficult because you could be the absolute perfect Cinderella fit. You could look like her, you could have her mannerisms, you could already know all of her movies inside out. But if they're hiring for the position of Jasmine, it doesn't matter. They just take all of you all at once, do the auditions, and hire for the positions that they need. Another real shame in all that is they actually only let you audition 1 time per year, which I again find very, very odd. I mean, if they do this huge pool, and I mean, I get it at first if you're going to audition and they want to do a huge pool at first, okay, cool, get it. They want to check you out, they want to see you, they want to get a good glimpse of you, see where you might fit. But then if they're hiring for an Aurora down the road, why not just call the people who are like really good at Aurora and get them to come in and audition for that spot? Why would they get a giant pool and basically waste everybody's time and then here you go, we're looking for an Aurora, but you were here for Jasmine. Like, I don't know, I don't get it. But I don't work for Disney. I don't have the ideas that Disney does, but this one seems kind of obvious to me. Number 3, social media restrictions. Now there are actually some strict arse guidelines when it comes to social media and being a Disney princess. For instance, you are not actually supposed to post anything about being a Disney princess on your social media. First off, you're not even supposed to say you are a Disney princess. You are supposed to refer to yourself as a friend of Tiana's, a friend of Ariel. You get it. You're a friend. You're not a princess. There's only one princess. There's only one Mickey. There's only one. You are not it. You are a friend. And cast members are not supposed to post anything about them being the friend on social media. You are also not supposed to post any pictures of you in your costume to social media. And definitely no behind the scene pictures. So getting ready and dressing up like a princess, pictures of all the costumes, pictures of other people getting dressed up. This is all strictly prohibited, and if you get caught doing it, you will be fired on the spot. However, there are a few exceptions to this rule, and honestly, I think Disney has just realized over the years that it's just really hard to keep all of these things under wraps, Everybody has a phone, everybody has a camera, has a video recorder, has everything on them all the time now because of our cell phones, and they have relaxed on some of these rules a little bit. And I mean like a little bit. For instance, some cast members are now able to say, hey, I work at Disney, but they're not able to say whereabouts they work. And you still cannot say that you are a princess or that you're even a friend of a princess. This is something that's actually so strict. They actually have a contract, and it is called the Oath of Confidentiality contract, and you sign it. And like I said, you break the contract, you can get fired. However, over the years, it's come a little bit more lax. Now, with that being said, there's nothing keeping you from keeping your mouth shut after you have been a Disney princess or a Disney character. Lots of people will post many pictures after the fact because Disney can't technically do anything because they don't really work for them anymore. But most people know better and kind of keep their mouth shut. Number 5, code words. Now, Disney princesses definitely have their own way of talking and their own little uniqueness about them. However, every Disney princess is taught a few code words, and they are actually used quite often so that they communicate with each other, with other cast members, and let them know what's going on around them, and they actually don't have to get involved in the situation that is actually happening. For instance, a lot of kids get really excited to meet a princess, and I mean adults for that matter too. I get really excited. But in this case, we're talking about kids. And sometimes if they're kids, especially little kids, and they get really excited, sometimes you have a little accident. You have a little pee accident. It happens. Happens to the best of us. It's okay. It's okay. And instead of the Disney princess just like getting up and be like, hey, your kid, this kid over here peed itself, this child, come get your kid. They peed, and just like making the kid feel bad and making a scene. They have actually come up with a code for this. So if you ever hear a Disney princess or any Disney employee actually say the code U, it actually means that there's been a pee incident and someone needs to come and make sure that the princess is okay and there is no pee on her costume. Another very commonly used code is code V, which is for vomit. And I've actually heard a few unfortunate stories from cast members saying that as they were dressed up as a certain character, as a certain friend, they actually had been vomited on. Oh my gosh, that is disgusting. I would not like that at all. That's not what I signed up. I signed up to fulfill dreams, not get vomited on. Thanks. Another very commonly code is code H. Code H is for horse poop. If you guys have ever been to Disney, you will see some princesses and some characters on a horse-drawn carriage or on a horse, or during the Halloween parade, they have the headless horseman on the horse. And every once in a while, the horse, they just gotta go. You just can't help it. And they have a little poop. And man, when that poo guy comes along, you just get up and you cheer for him. He is the real MVP. He is the real winner. He's the real Disney princess walking around cleaning up horse poop. That's awesome. Let me know, have you guys ever been to a parade and you've seen the poop guy and people get up and cheer for him? Because I definitely have been to a few parades like that because they rock. Number 6, garbage duty. Now, you would think that being a Disney princess, you would not have to be on garbage duty. You would just be a princess and you would just get to live your normal life and you have your servants going around and picking up garbage for you. Well, my friends, not in the Magic Kingdom, not in Disney World, not in Disneyland. If a Disney princess is walking around and she sees a piece of garbage on the ground, she is not supposed to walk by it. No. She has to do her duty as a princess, as a Disney princess. And let's be real, most of these princesses are from rags to riches type thing, so they're probably used to cleaning up anyways. If a Disney princess sees a piece of garbage on the ground, she is expected to pick it up and dispose of it. But again, being a Disney princess, it's not just that easy. You don't just bend over and pick it up. You can't just squat and pick it up. No, you have to do what is called a swoop and scoop. So I don't know, in my mind, I just kind of imagine the Disney princess walking along all fancy like. Oh, there's a piece of garbage on the ground. Well, I can't just leave that there. I need to pick it up. Swoop and scoop. I feel like it's something along that lines. They're gonna make it look a lot more majestic than us average people who just bend over, pick it up, and throw it out. They're gonna make a spectacle out of it. They're gonna make it a show out of it. They're gonna make it look like that piece of garbage just floated over to the garbage can. Number 7. It's a lot more dangerous than you would think. Now, I would have never thought that being a Disney princess would be a dangerous job. I mean, who would have thought of that? I mean, I definitely never would have thought that it'd be dangerous. I mean, you're a Disney princess. Your danger is over. You already had your story. You just get to enjoy it all at this point. In 2005, a total of 773 injuries were reported from Disney cast members. 49 of those injuries were because of heads on costumed characters, whether they were too big or they just weighed too much on the neck or on the shoulders. One incident, a person actually picked up a Minnie and shook her around, which caused the cast member to have whiplash. God, like, what's wrong with people? But 107 of those injuries were from pushing and pulling and tugging. Like, that is crazy to me. You wouldn't think that being a Disney princess or being a Disney cast member, like, you're gonna get injured like this. Other injuries are dislocated shoulders, broken knees, broken ribs. Most of these ones occurred because of the wiring underneath of the princess's dresses to kind of either keep it on, keep it up, give it the hoop underneath. Like, it's actually quite heavy. So you can't just be this tiny little dainty princess. You actually have to be able to support this like crazy wire, plus the costume that goes on over top. And the costume itself, although absolutely gorgeous, they actually weigh quite a bit because they are made of like pristine fabric. I mean, Disney's not going to cheap out on the fabric, you guys, so it actually weighs quite a bit. It's also worth noting that a lot of Disney princesses actually also talked about harassment in the park. That although it did come from a number of sources, primarily men were harassing Disney princesses, saying inappropriate things to them and suggesting to meet up later. And in some incidences, some men actually had to be taken off of property. Again, like, I get it, it's Disney, it's magical. You don't want to, lose the magic, but like, it's a person. Either way, it is a person, whether it be a Disney princess person or a real person, it's a person. Don't be gross. Don't be gross. Number 8, job security. Now you got the job of a Disney princess, good for you. Try keeping it now. Keeping the job is half the battle. When you do become a Disney princess, you have to follow all of the rules that I kind of said before with social media. Make sure you're not talking out of turn. Make sure you're answering everybody's questions appropriately. But you also need to make sure you're doing the job according to standards. Disney has a policy that every character has to see 172 guests per hour. There is also an age limit on princesses as well. Most princesses retire by age 27. So if you're kind of getting close to that age, then you probably don't want to be a Disney princess because you won't be able to keep your job very long. And you also have to make sure you're not talking about your job when you're not supposed to. And this also means, like, even with like your friends and family, when you go home at night, you're not allowed to tell anybody what that princess was up to that day. You need to keep your job hush hush or you get the boot. Number 9, looks matter. Disney has actually come under a lot of scrutiny for all the rules that they have pertaining to their Disney princesses, especially a lot of them are rules that people feel like they should really do away with. They're not rules that should be kept up in this day, age, and time. However, Disney has not done anything about them yet, and they still stand by all the rules that they have in place for you to be cast and kept cast as a Disney princess. And some of them, let me tell you. So to even be considered for a Disney princess, you have to be the right height. The height for the average Disney princesses does range, but you have to be between the size of 5'3" to 5'7". Now, villains can actually be a little bit taller, and Tinkerbell is another exception where she can actually be quite a bit shorter. There's also additional rules for princesses like Jasmine and Ariel. they actually have to be quite a bit toned in their ab. They have to have definition in their abs since their abdomen is actually exposed with most of the costumes that they are wearing, other than their full gowns. Their average clothes is when they have their midriff showing, and they have to make sure they have some kind of six-pack going on there. There's also rules as to body piercings and jewelry. You cannot have any type of crazy body piercing. You can have a lip piercing, nose. You cannot have stretched earlobes. You can have one ear piercing. And when you are as your role and you are dressed up, you are allowed to have one ring. All Disney princesses have to basically look alike no matter what park they're in, what area of the park they're in. If they're in the exact same park, they have the same guidelines to follow for getting ready, for how to do their hair, how to do their makeup. They each do their own hair and makeup, but it does have to be done in uniformity. So that way the Princess Cinderella that's crossing you in front of the parade is the exact same Cinderella that's in Cinderella Hall. Disney princesses always have to have a smile on their face. They can't be seen without having a smile on their face. In a lot of incidences, customers had actually reported that their face actually hurt. First few weeks of working, their face actually hurt so much from smiling all the time. And then there's the body image, because I mean, you know, that's here too. All Disney princesses have to be within a certain weight, a certain age, a certain body type, and their skin has to be clear of any imperfections. So this one I have a very hard time with, and I'm not going to get into it. It could be a whole video on its own, but yes, if you want to be a Disney princess, you have to be the right size, shape, age, and make sure you have no skin conditions, or if you have something, it's something you're actually able to cover up. In one incident, there was a princess who went into work one day and she had a few blemishes on her face that she was not able to cover up, and she was actually dismissed for the day because she did not uphold the Disney look. I mean, I don't know. You know what, Disney? These princesses, they're women too. Sometimes they just want to eat a tub of ice cream and not worry about the rest of the world and gain a few pounds and not get judged for it. And you know what? When you eat that ice cream, you get some pimples. It just happens. Dismissing a person because they have a pimple. Dear Lord, some days I would never go to work. And don't even bother getting pregnant if you're a Disney princess. Now this one actually comes in at a twofold. One, because I did just mention earlier, it is actually dangerous being a character when you are dressed up. You can get injured due to people pulling, pushing, tugging on you. You can possibly fall down in some cases. And again, if you are wearing that tight dress underneath, if you're wearing the wire with the crinoline and everything on it, it actually weighs quite a bit, which wouldn't be good for a pregnant woman. But more so than that, it does not go with the Disney look. You cannot have a pregnant Disney princess walking around. That is just absolutely unheard of. Disney will not fire you for this, however, they will place you somewhere else. And last, because we can't leave it on a negative, before you become a Disney princess, you must first pay your dues as a furry. So every Disney princess you are seeing is actually a costume character first. They have to do the hard work before they get to do the fun work. So every character that you see has actually been a costume character first. There you have it, my friends. There are 10 secrets about being a Disney princess. What do you think? Did you know some of these? Did you not know some of these? Which ones shocked you the most? I mean, let's be real, I'm not shocked here, but the whole weight thing and size, like, come on, like, I think Disney's time to update this a little bit. I mean, I'm not saying we need to have an extreme or anything, but come on. Or better yet, why don't you just create characters that are different body shapes? I mean, you could have someone that's really, really thin, and you could have someone that's overweight too. You can manage it on both sides. That is our Disney story for the day. What do you guys think? Do you guys like these type of videos as well? Not just the theory and conspiracy. These are behind the scenes, the magic that's happening behind the scenes. Bringing that forward, letting you guys know. So a little bit of Disney history and archiving going on in this video. I would have loved to be a Disney princess. I mean, honestly, whose dream is that not? That's everybody's Disney dream. If I could choose, which apparently you don't get to, but if I could choose, I think I would be Rapunzel. I think she'd be the most fun. She has a movie, she has a few spin-offs, she has a TV show. Like, I think she would be the most fun, and I'm probably more relatable to her. Like, I couldn't be Cinderella. I'm not that elegant and demure. Same with Aurora. I couldn't be her either. Merida would be fine, but I would destroy the accent. No amount of vocal coaching could do that for me. So let me know. Let me know what princess you would like to be if you could choose. If you could choose. All right, my beautiful Disney friends, that does it for me today. No matter what you guys are doing, I hope you're having an absolutely magical day, and I will talk to you all real soon. Mwah! Bye!